Real quickly before we begin, I want to thank this video's sponsor, CarMarshal.com. CarMarshal.com can save you lots of money on buying used or new vehicles, cars, trucks, school buses. If you want to save money, I'll have a link in the description down below. I know I'm going to.
The vote came in about an hour ago, and it was unanimous, the village opting for a ban on specific types of firearms. And essentially what that means is a complete ban on semi-automatic rifles, pistols, and shotguns containing certain features and magazines containing more than 10 rounds of ammunition. Law enforcement and retired law enforcement are exempt by the adjustments to local law. The debate before the vote at times heated and passionate.
There's going to be lots of talk about Second Amendment rights. But I'd be hard-pressed to find any right that is completely unrestricted.
We have police. Yeah, they had them in Florida too. Imagine how those teachers and those kids felt as they look out that window at that cop hiding behind that tree. I bet they wish they had a gun versus a phone in their hands.
And the law is very similar to the one that is currently in place in Highland Park. The ban goes into effect June 13th, and after that, those with the noted firearms could be fined up to $1,000 per day that they possess those noted firearms. We are live in Deerfield. Jeremy Ross, CBS 2 News.
Town bypasses Constitution. U.S. citizens given 60 days to turn in guns or become criminals. Residents of a town in Illinois were just handed down an unconstitutional decree from their local government. They now have 60 days to give up their guns or be fined up to $1,000 per day. By Jack Burns, April 5, 2018. As the state promises gun rights activists they're not coming for their guns, behind the scenes they're pleading for it to happen. And now the feared gun grab is occurring. Residents in Deerfield, Illinois have 60 days to surrender their assault weapons or face fines of $1,000 per day per gun. The gun ban ordinance was passed on April 2 with residents left with few choices of how to dispose of their valuable assault weapons. Upon careful reading of the ordinance, residents will be left with revolvers, .22 caliber plinking rifles, and double-barrel shotguns to defend their homes and families from criminals who could care less about the law. Fines for not disposing of the weapons range from $250 to $1,000 per day per gun for those who choose not to comply with the city's ordinance. While a fine may seem reasonable to some, as TFTP has reported on multiple occasions, failure to pay fines always results in police action. It is not far-fetched to predict major turmoil and arrests in the event of non-compliance. One example of the so-called assault weapon is the Ruger 10-20 which can accept magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. Even though the 10-20 is not listed in the list of guns the village wants to see banned, the gun cannot legally be possessed in the village. Residents have been instructed to either sell their guns, transfer the ownership to someone who lives outside the village, surrender their guns to Deerfield's sheriff, or begin paying the fines. Deerfield mentioned a number of cities where mass shootings took place, including Sutherland Springs, Texas, where 26 people were killed in the First Baptist Church. That shooting was actually stopped by a man who used the very gun Deerfield voted to ban. No mention was made of that fact in the ordinance. Also included in the gun ban were semi-automatic pistols which can accept higher than 10-round magazines. That's virtually all full-size semi-automatic pistols. Even though the village trustees ignored the pleas of residents to leave their guns alone, and passed the ordinance anyway, many residents were encouraged to ignore the gun ban and engage in civil disobedience. Joel Siegel, a resident of Lincolnwood, warned the village's residents that governments all across the world have moved to confiscate guns, then turned around and ran roughshod over the people. He said, "There's an ancient and honored American tradition called disobeying an unjust law. I have urged people to listen to their conscience and if so moved do not obey this law." Deerfield Mayor Harriet Rosenthal implied the students from the local high school helped sway her decision to bring about the ordinance. "Enough is enough," Rosenthal said, adding, "Those students are so articulate just like our students. There is no place here for assault weapons. The statement mirrors the knee-jerk reaction to ban guns following a nationwide public outcry of students who supposedly feared for their own lives following the recent mass shooting in Florida. Opponents of the gun grab vow to fight the action in court, while others praised the trustees' decision to ban semi-automatic rifles, pistols, and shotguns. Ariella Karask, a Deerfield High School senior, said she wants more action to be taken on both a local and national level. "This is our fight. This is our generation's fight. We're going to keep fighting, and this is part of it. Change happens gradually, step by step. The fight does not end at the borders of our village," Karask said. Predictably, law enforcement and retired law enforcement members of the community are exempted from the ban. Currently, in the U.S., law enforcement kills around 1,200 citizens per year. Ironically, that number is actually 4 times higher than those who die from rifles. As TFTP has reported, cops have killed 450% more people than have died in the past 40 years of mass shootings.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use. And also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon, Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County, and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.